Hey, it's Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo, and today I'm talking about Townsfolk Tussle and the whole should you back it and all that stuff. And I'm going to go to a quick interlude about another campaign, so I'll just save you some time. Go ahead and back this game. It's going to hold its value. It's a safe back. Go ahead and back it. I'm going to talk about something else for a second, then come back to Townsfolk Tussle in case you want to hang around for the rest. And for that, let's talk briefly about Nova Aetas Renaissance, which basically the only reason I'm talking about this one is to let you know that there is a 48-hour early bird on this one. So if you are interested in getting the 48-hour early bird on a Nova Aetas Renaissance, go ahead and check this out. You'll get this adorable, definitely not the Mandalorian. Definitely not. This is not the Mandalorian. This is the Medicchio, which is totally different than the Mandalorian. This is not Baby Yoda. And in fact, not only is it not Baby Yoda, it's also not the child. Instead, it is something else entirely that has no resemblance whatsoever to the Mandalorian, but it's something that you might want to get in case you want to paint it in a color scheme that doesn't match the actual art on the card. Maybe you want I don't know, maybe you want green for that creature. I don't know. I think a nice little green thing would be a nice little vibe for this. I'm just spitballing, thinking things up. But anyways, 48-hour early bird on this, and so go ahead and back Nova Aetas Renaissance. Even if you're unsure, just jump in, and you can jump out if necessary. I have a 21-day reminder set up. I will definitely jump out if I'm not backing this campaign. I have not made any decisions yet. And with that, let's go back to Townsfolk Tussle and no more talk about early birds for the rest of this video. All talk about early birds is officially off the table. So, Townsfolk Tussle. Townsfolk Tussle is a game in which, well, first of all, I put up a review of this game. You can check that out already. Short version is I love this game. There's so many aspects about this game that I thoroughly enjoy. It's a romp. The whole thing is an absolute romp. This is a boss battling game in which you guys are playing against the townsfolk, and someone has murdered the sheriff. They did not shoot the deputy. They just killed the sheriff. I mean, the amount of different copyright infringements this video can have is, who knows? We can have, I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot the deputy. We can have the Mandalorian, which is definitely not the Mandalorian. Let's see if we can get a third one in by the time this video is over. But in any case, so someone shot the sheriff, not the deputy, and you have to figure out how to stop this invading horde of ruffians from slowly but surely taking over the town. The game is going to take place over 4 consecutive boss battles, each one alternating a town phase and a boss phase, a fight phase or whatever. And in the town phase, you're going to level up and gear up all your heroes, your townsfolk or whatnot, with different pieces of equipment to help you survive. And in the boss phase, you'll go ahead and tackle the ruffian, hopefully taking them out. And each one has their own adorable, charming personality. I cannot emphasize. I have such trouble with that word. I cannot emphasize this enough, that the hilarious personalities of each of these characters. The townsfolk too, but honestly, I get more personality out of the ruffians, out of the bosses. They each come to the table with their own unique way of fighting, their own unique method of combat. The style really comes through in their different cards, and you're going to have this little boss battler, different townsfolk facing off against them. The bosses will scale, so this does work from 2 to 5 players. There's also a solo variant, not an official 1 to 5 player game, but a solo variant. My own personal experience with it was that I would be averse to playing this solo based on my plays so far. Again, prototype, so take that in with a grain of salt. But in terms of playing it, I would happily play this 2-player, 2-handed, 2 players controlling different heroes, and then I would happily play a 3-player or 4-player. I had 4 or 5-player might be a bit much, I don't know, but I imagine it would still be fun, so I'd give it a go. But basically, I absolutely adore this game. I cannot say it enough. And more than the game, forget the game. I don't even care about the game anymore. What I adore now is, look at this. Look at this. We have Alex from BoardGameCo. I grabbed a red die for the video just to make sure. The entire world that is being built here is incredibly unique in the feel it gives. It's absolutely amazing, and I love it. I really enjoy Townsfolk Tussle. I find the game adorable and the gameplay fun. I don't even know if this guy likes the game. That is a weak sauce testimonial. But we have a great testimonial from here, from Quacklo. Townsfolk Tussle is going to hit the table with a group of friends more often than any of my other boss battlers. If you're looking for that helter-skelter, enjoyable experience, this one's going to have it on lock. He might like it. I mean, he did put out a video about 5 reasons why Townsfolk Tussle is better than KDM. He doesn't really like KDM, so I don't know if it really counts. And then we have review after review, each one with their own adorable little, icon, whatever, little, there's a word for that, avatar. Little adorable little avatars. Mine is 100% being framed and going up on a wall. So when I say should you back, or when I say will this game hold its value, you can guarantee that I am absolutely 100% biased here, and you should not trust me at all. That being said, just to double down on it, I will pick Townsfolk Tussle as my Kickstarter insurance pick of the month, which basically, if you don't know, on my Patreon, I have this thing for higher pledge levels where I guarantee you'll get your money back on a pledge to the point that I will buy it off your hands. Terms and conditions apply, but I am picking Townsfolk Tussle just so you know that the adorable little avatar that they gave me is not in any way biasing my decisions. but it still might be. But still, Kickstarter insurance, all that stuff. In any case, let's talk about the Kickstarter. Let's talk about the pledge levels. So, pledge levels here are pretty simple. What we're going to have here is we're going to have the $1 supportive citizen, the $85 brave local pledge. This is the main one you're going to want to keep your eyes on. This is the main pledge that you're going to be offered. It's going to be coming at $20 shipping to the US. That shipping will vary depending on which country you are in. We have $300 for the generous town noble pledge. This is basically a group pledge effectively, bringing your price per game down to $75, which is very, very close to $70. No reasons I bring that up whatsoever. And then we have the all gone. We have a few options here. We have this $70 pledge we're not going to talk about. This $150 dearly departed townsfolk pledge, which is basically gives you the option to have your tombstone on the box. Here we go. Each of these tombstones on the side of the box, you'll get your art on one of these, your name on one of these. And then we have the prestigious town hero pledge, which is your own very Eureka Springs tombstone, as well as a customized piece of gear, working with them, and a premier obituary thank you in the rulebook. So basically more of that. I will say offhand, these kind of deluxe pledges, they don't always go right away, but in this campaign, they went quickly. These extra deluxe pledges that have no bearing on gameplay, but just give you some extra perks or whatnot, these things were snatched up pretty quickly, which makes sense because people are pulled in by the world that Townsfolk Tussle is presenting. Just as much as the gameplay itself, the world that is being created here is engaging and pulling people in, and the idea of being part of that world is something that people want to be. Now, with all that aside, let's talk about early birds, because I do want to bring it up. It's worth talking about, which basically, if you don't know, Townsfolk Tussle started off day one with a $70 early bird pledge with limited to 100 backers. And that generated controversy. And I think it was a bad decision. I do. I also think it was a mistake. And I think that these are first-time creators. Well, let's give context here. So, early birds in Kickstarter really is a topic deserving of deserves an entire video dedicated to itself, which one day I'll probably do because I talk about Kickstarter and topics and stuff in general. But the general idea of early birds is early birds are very, very helpful to driving traffic to a Kickstarter page, to incentivizing people to jump in on day one, which pushes it up on Kickstarter's own recommended list. It pushes it up on KickTrack. That early push will incentivize the overall campaign success by having enough pushing and hype and all those things around a campaign. That first day strong push is very important, which is why so many Kickstarters give you that extra miniature or whatever it is if you back day one, and then you could, buy it for $10 if you come in later. It's also a bit annoying to the people back in the game because they feel punished for coming in on day two. But the flip side is it's not really meant to be a reward or punishment. It's meant to incentivize the continued success of the Kickstarter by driving it up the ranks to have that full-on early day one success and day one hype and day one KickTrack and day one Kickstarter, our picks or whatever it is. So it is basically a trade-off with that nobody really likes, but you have to do because it is one of many tools at a Kickstarter creator's, toolbox to guarantee success or to help success. The problem is 100 backer early bird doesn't really do that in the same way. A 100 limited backer early bird just gives 100 people that option. It's not a day one hype. The actual amount of gap here it's a tiny amount, and that's also why, by the way, the discount is bigger. Instead of being like a $5 off or a miniature that'll cost you $6, whatever it is, it was a $15 difference. So overall, this early bird, what it mostly ended up accomplishing is ticking people off. And understandably so, and I think that's very reasonable that this was a mistake on their end. It's a mistake on Panic Rule's end, on their side in terms of this campaign. But it's a mistake. And these are first-time creators. And they apologize for that mistake. And then they gave out this own little Create Your Card project as well. A bunch of extra promo cards for people to be involved in, for all the day one backers to be involved in voting and participating as an extra. Is it the same as $15 off? No. But this is an incredibly well put together project. This project screams it screams like, seventh project. The sheer degree of premiumness. I've had this prototype. The prototype was incredibly well done. This project is incredibly well put together. Look at this quote from Shut Up and Sit Down that they have, because Shut Up and Sit Down doesn't do previews. So what do? They drew a little thing. Game looks gorgeous, but I'm afraid you're right. We don't do Kickstarter previews. Good enough for us. Thanks, Quins. They managed to include Shut Up and Sit Down on their page, even though Shut Up and Sit Down doesn't do anything for them. Everything they did in this campaign has been incredibly well thought out. They've done an incredibly good job across the board in delivering a premium first Kickstarter with an amazing game. Look at all the reviews in this game, not just mine. Look at the host of reviews from King of Average, from Crackalope, myself, Bra Mithra, Hungry Gamer. If I'm missing anyone out, we had more. I just can't remember all the names. We have Fen Paints. We have Logan Chops Reviews. Look, we have Unfiltered Gamer, One Stop Co-op Shop. The host of reviews that seem to love this game. I don't think I've seen a negative review yet. I've seen people who said the game's not for them, but I don't think I've seen a single negative review of this game yet. And that's because this game is charming. It pulls you in. Everything is so well done that, yeah, I'll forgive a mistake of an early bird little whatever. Because this is not their 17th Kickstarter. This is not Come On, Cool Mini or not. This is not any one of those giant companies who should know better by now when they screw up. This is a first Kickstarter with a tiny little blip in the radar, and it would be really great if you're someone watching this video who's giving them a hard time in the comments. I'd appreciate it if you could let it slide. It doesn't mean that it wasn't a screw up. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be a little bit miffed. But there's a difference between disagreeing, there's a difference between being miffed, and there's a difference between turning the Kickstarter comment section into a toxic complaint of someone's mistake. Just let it go. Let it go. No, I'm not going to do it. No singing today. So, in any case, that is my own little thing about early birds. People make mistakes. Companies make mistakes. Individuals make mistakes. These three individuals, the people running Panic Roll, are some of the nicest people I have engaged with since getting involved in Kickstarters and working with companies and publishers and all that. They are some of the nicest people. There's a great interview you can watch. They have an interview over here with the OMG Nexus, who do these interviews with creators. Take a look at them. Look at them. They just watch the interview. They are people who made a small mistake. And anyways, let's move on from the early bird to talk about the should you back it and all that. Should you back, it's going to be pretty simple, I said already. This campaign is going to do well. This campaign, it broke their own expectations. And you can tell that because of the stretch goals. The level of stretch goals they have planned is basically designed, I mean, something you have to factor in terms of general Kickstarters, we talk about this, fake stretch goals, all that, is one of the very first things a project has to decide is, are they deciding what's going in the box in advance or not? How do you account for things that aren't going in the box? A lot of stuff that ends up in a magical stretch goal box, you has to be planned for, and it seems to fit pretty well usually. And that's true here as well. They have to figure out what fits in the box in this campaign, and so they planned it out. They planned out what are the potential stretch goals we're going to hit, what potential cards that might be a little bit more leeway. I mean, they offer those extra promo pack as a consolation and whatnot. Cards generally have a bit more leeway because adding 7 extra cards to the game, that's doable. But this box is packed full of gaming goodness as it is, to the point, by the way, which is second mistake, I guess, to the point that this does not fit sleeved cards. So speaking for myself, I'll be ditching some inserts or something because I sleeve my cards and I want them in that box, and I will happily give up an insert for miniatures and put them all in a bag, you know, whatever it is, heathen that I am, in order to have sleeved cards. But you're going to have to make those decisions, and that really is the unforgivable mistake here. But that aside, they have this box packed full of stuff, chock full of stuff, and day one, they're already burning through stretch goals, and day one, I don't know what they planned on hitting exactly, but I think they exceeded their own expectations by quite a bit, considering the fact that on day one, for a first-time creator, they have 2,500 backers, $183,000 raised of $79,000. If I'm not mistaken, they had somewhere in the range of 3,500 or 4,000 people who had clicked the notify me. And to have 2,500 of those on day one, and granted there could be overlap with other sources or whatever, but to have 2,500 backers day one when you have 35 to 4,000 notify me, that is a great percentage. You are lucky if you can convert half those people. You are lucky. In general, the Kickstarter marketing is its own fascinating whole series of videos, but they're doing a phenomenal job, and they have 29 days to go. Now, this is going to be one of those things where you're not going to be able to make everyone happy, that's for sure. And we can see that in any number of ways. Now, for one, we have people like myself who want space in the box for sleeves. We have people who are begging for a standee version only, which they sadly does not seem like they're going to get. There's a whole extra effort involved in the production of managing a whole different new SKU, a stock keeping unit, whatever. You have people who are asking for miniatures for all the terrain, which, by the way, I didn't even think of, but now I totally want. No matter who you are, you're going to have to pick and choose who to cater to in what way. The good news is with success like this, hopefully we'll see another Kickstarter. Maybe there'll be a standee version next time. Maybe there'll be a optional add-on for miniatures, for the miniature terrain or whatnot. Maybe we'll get a full-on, who knows? I mean, let's say Quacklope. I know Quacklope they got a card over here. Let's see if we can find the card. They got a card. Here we go. The adorable little thing. Let's find the update. Quacklope got their own little card and town event, which is awesome. But maybe we'll get a Quacklope mini in the next game. I don't know. What's with me and Quacklope minis? I want these Quacklope minis, but that duckling, that horned duckling is adorable. Absolutely adorable. But the point is, there's lots that this can potentially do. There's lots that can be done with this franchise, with Townsfolk Tussle. And with success like this on day one, I'm guessing we'll see more of it. This is a world that is phenomenal. This is a world that I want to see explored further, and who knows what can be on the table. As far as the should you back it, you should back it. The hype around this game, the love around this game, despite all the early bird drama, despite the common toxicity to a degree, lots of nice people, but a little bit of toxicity, despite all that, this game is doing incredibly well. People want in on this game. People are complaining about the $70 pledge that they couldn't get their hands on while still backing the game, because at $85 for what you get, it's a great value. It is giving you a decent amount, and most importantly, it's Kickstarter exclusive. They might sell more copies on the website, but this is not currently going to retail, at least as of now, which means your only opportunity to get this is the Kickstarter or the secondhand market. And I've played this game, and I think people are going to want this game. I think it's going to be very hard to get this game on the secondhand market for cheaper than what you paid for it. Your third option, which is the more realistic one, is pass on it now and wait for a second Kickstarter. That one's more reasonable. I don't know what the prices will be like. It might be more, it might be less. I doubt it'll be less. I can't imagine it'll be less. It's either more or the same. And so yeah, I think the should you back it here is pretty easy. This game is adorable. This game is fun. This game is, I mean, look at the reviews. Look at my own review. Look at other people's reviews. This game might not be for you. Because something I've seen a lot of people who say, like, well, I only play solo, and you said it wasn't good solo, so it might not be for me. And I'm like, that's right, it might not be. The solo might be improved, it might be developed. It's worth mentioning this game is on Tabletop Simulator if you want to give it a shot. But there are many reasons this game won't be for you. Additionally, the game is silly. And it's silly in a way that I love. But it's silly in a way that others might not. Some of those semi-co-op elements, which for me, I don't like semi-co-op in games. And yet if you took it out of Townsfolk Tussle, I feel that it would be missing something. I feel it would be missing some of the character of the game. But you're going to have things like the boss just teleporting across the map. And for some people, especially people who are used to KDM, that might be frustrating. I want to be able to predict the boss. I want to be able to know more exactly about how the boss is going to do things. Because as soon as the boss just teleports halfway across the map, where's the strategy of the game? And my answer is there are choices to be made in this game for sure. There is strategy in this game for sure. But mostly what I love most about the game is the character of the game. I love the character that this game delivers. I love the story this game delivers. I love the wacky, crazy equipment, the funny stuff, the extendable arms, the time you strap dynamite to your friend's leg. There is so much there's so much to love about this world. But 95% of what I love about this game comes down to the character of the game. The other 5% is the choices and strategy presented. But to be frank, and again, it might not be a game for you, for myself, if I wanted choices and strategy, this would not be the game I'd pick. If I want a game that does give me choices and does give me strategy, but gives me a frolicking good time, or is it a rollicking? Is something good time, while also being hilariously fun and also having choices, I really enjoy Townsfolk Tussle. I am excited for this game. I believe you should be excited for this game, and you should back it. 100%. And also back it? I don't know. Anyways, and there's going to be some things as well. There's going to be I shouldn't say going to be. They hinted at double layer player boards, which I certainly want. There's more stuff to come. Keep your eye on things. And of course, there's that contest. If you haven't had that contest in terms of coming up with your own unique equipment or whatever it is, unique gear that someone else can do, go ahead and check that out. Submit your entry, vote on others. There is so much adorable stuff about this game. One last thing, that's it. And then we're done. Which I just want to show you this first stretch goal, because that first stretch goal is absolutely adorable. Putting the rough in Ruffian. It's Deputy Wagons. Or Wagons? Deputy Wagons. Look at this. This is one of the ruffians you'll be fighting. It's a little dog. It's adorable. I give up. I get it. I'm out. Have a good one. I'm Alex from BoardGameCo. I hope you have a good one and totally back this game. And I will see you next time.